This week on the Converge Pod, I'm chatting with konverjdans dancer Łukasz Zięba. Yay! Hi, Łukasz.
Hi, Jordan. What's up?
What's up? How are you doing?
I'm doing good.
Good.
Yes.
Good. I'm glad I caught you in the park.
Yeah.
Right before your Met rehearsal, but we're so happy to have you back with konverjdans this season. The first show you did with us was in 2019, right? Like right before the pandemic?
Yes.
No, it wasn't.
It was even earlier.
Yes, I'm remembering now. It was actually one of our studio showings. You were in Tiff's piece, The Baby. I forget the full title, but Baby was the piece, and that was the first time we had you. But yeah, so welcome back.
Thank you. It's nice to be back with you in the studio.
Yeah.
It feels really, really good to get back in the creative mode with you and make something happen.
I know.
Yeah.
And so much has happened in your life since I've talked to you last. I feel like you left the city, you came back to the city, you're a father now.
Yes.
Let's just start there. How has parenthood and the birth of your son, I guess, changed your approach to dance, creativity, life? Where are you at?
Yeah, I mean that's an act of creation of its own to
100%.
make a human being. It's pretty fascinating how all of that plays out and how it changes us and our perspective of life, of our relationship to a human being, and a sense of responsibility. These are changes that I see happen in me, but they're so difficult to
put into words.
Put into words.
Yeah.
It's definitely a sense of something that I can feel strongly is the sense of responsibility for a life that needs you.
Yeah.
It's not that, it's like a hobby that I can pick up on the weekend and do it for a few hours. It's just 24/7.
It's your life.
It's our life now, and it's beautiful. It's amazing. It's extremely challenging, and the types of challenges change. In the beginning, it's a different challenge. No sleep and exhaustion and shock of what is happening.
Yeah.
And then just the marvel of life and how it comes to be. And then it changes, a few months later, it's a different type of challenge. Now he's walking and climbing all the furniture and things. So it's a different form of stuff. And now he's going to start talking soon.
Oh my gosh.
He's, saying his first words.
He said his first word. What was it?
Jeszcze.
Jeszcze?
It's in Polish means more.
More.
Yes. I was feeding him and I said jeszcze, and he's like, jeszcze.
Okay. You're like, you got it. So he's learning both Polish and English?
Yeah, I speak Polish to him, and me and my wife, we speak English. So he's picking up both, hopefully. I don't know. We'll see.
He's doing his best. Looks like he's on the right track. So.
His first word was Polish, so.
Okay. You're like, I like that. Yeah. But you're from Poland originally. Have you been able to go back with your family recently? I feel like you were there just a couple weeks ago.
We were just there for about 4 weeks for Easter holiday. It was his first time in Poland. It was really lovely to be there with family.
Yeah.
I got to teach dance a little bit. That's something that I always enjoy doing when I go back to Poland.
Yeah,
so
it's nice to get back to home.
I taught dance and had some workshops and classes. And it's incredible to work with the dancers there. It's a completely different vibe, different way of moving that people have over there. It was really nice to do that too.
Yeah, and you spent most of when did you move to the States?
In 2012.
Okay.
I was 21 years old.
You were 21.
Just old enough to legally buy a beer in New York.
Just old enough.
So, yeah.
So you spent all of your training in Poland.
Yeah.
So how does it feel? Do you teach at the same studio you grew up in? How is it going back?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes. I'm fortunate to be connected with a lot of different studios and schools in Poland. So It just depends on the timing. Sometimes I do go back to the ballet school that I went to in Krakow. Sometimes this time around, I actually put together a workshop myself. I
Great.
just rented a studio and I put a workshop
Put out the
together.
word, yeah.
And then the other one, I worked somewhere else at a studio of someone else. So it was a mix of both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you said dance feels different there. There's different values in, I don't know, dance training in Poland than here. Was there a big learning curve?
I feel like there's like a sense of curiosity and a sense of like creativity and especially in like younger dancers that is really fascinating to me, and I don't really find it very often here.
Yeah,
it's in a different way because when sometimes I do teach in dance studios here in the United States, and it feels like kids are maybe a little bit more proficient like technically, and like they're really focused on like tricks and pirouettes and like learning all of this, but the creative, the curiosity, the I don't want to say the human part of it, but it somehow feels like it is like the more like nurturing creative part of the dancers here is not as transparent as I find it over there.
Yeah, that makes total sense. Just knowing you and seeing you as a human, as a maker, as a dancer, it makes so much sense that that's just like it's in there. It's in there culturally. But
maybe I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe it's just Łukasz, but who knows? But I guess how do you feed yourself creatively? Or
I find a lot of inspiration and peace in nature, and that's a big part of my life that I try to connect with as much as I can. One of the challenges living in the city that it is limited in some ways. But then there is also a realization that nature is everywhere. You know, the air is a part of the climate, our ecosystem. So sometimes when I can't, you know, be in like completely serene, kind of secluded nature that's like ideal for certain moments, then I just find, you know, little places in the city which exist, like you know, parks like this. This is one of them. Or even just walking down the street, there's like trees here and there, and so I find a lot of peace and tranquility in nature and hearing the birds. You can hear the birds in the city everywhere, and I listen to them. I see what they have to say. I can't really respond to them, but I listen. I listen, and and what also nurtures me is being able to take care of my son, my family. It's like a strange relationship because when I feel good with them, with my family, I feel good with myself too, and it gives me a boost. It gives me confidence to be free to express myself. And it's something I've never experienced before. This is very new, and I'm learning it and observing how it works. I'm just noticing that that's what's happening, and it's awesome. It's really cool. I've heard about this, haven't happened to people, but I only could conceptualize it, and now that it's happening to me, it's like, wow, that's pretty cool.
That's incredible. I love that. And you moved upstate for a little while during the pandemic, or you left the city for a little bit.
Yes.
Was that sort of a time of incubation, a time to just like be away and steep in nature? Or I guess what did you gain out of that time out of the city?
Yeah, that was a really beautiful part of the pandemic for us. We spent over 2 years in the Catskills, like just below the Catskills. We lived in a forest. We rented a floor in our friend's house. We had a wonderful community around us, a local farm that was growing food, and it was just a very different lifestyle than what we've been doing, working as dancers in New York City thus far. So that was a great time. Although we knew that it's temporary, that we are going
to
come back here and jump back into the work dancing freelance mode as we do. I feel like what this time gave me was an appreciation of simple things, of community, of friends, appreciating neighbors, appreciating like simple gestures that people can do, and they don't ask. It's not like a money exchange or anything. It's just a human response to something, and then that was really beautiful. I had a lot of time to meditate and to kind of do more inner work there, and that was really special, and I'm really grateful to have had that time, because when I get busy, it's much more challenging to find time to take care of our inner self. But there's always balance. I always strive to find balance in life, and so I understand that for right now I have to focus on work, and I have to do certain things here in the city to in the future be able to maybe again have time and space to to be more introspective,
to tune in a little bit.
Yes.
Yeah. And you do sound healing, right? Sound bath work, sound meditations. Are those workshops you've started offering recently?
Yeah, that's something that has been flowering in the last few years. During the pandemic, when we lived upstate, I had a chance to cultivate that much more, and had time to work on that, and to offer sound healing baths or workshops. The last 2 years I went to Jacob's Pillow to offer a sound bath at Jacob's Pillow, just for people working there, dancers, whoever was interested was able to come and take advantage of a moment to relax and meditate, maybe take a nap. I don't know. And so that's something that I started doing. I work with like the main instrument that I work with is gongs, and I also use Native American flutes and some other smaller instruments that are simple to use, because I'm not a musician, yet I'm fascinated by sound and its impact on us and our consciousness. And there are a lot of beautiful instruments that are really simple to use and are accessible to really anyone. So maybe flutes are a little bit more complicated, and that took some time for me to figure out how to play them. But even the Native American flutes most of them are built on a pentatonic scale. So the notes that you play, they all sound good.
You're
with
like,
each
they're
other.
going to be fine,
Yes,
no matter what you play.
Of course, you have to learn how to
how to achieve
play
them.
But it's not like playing a piano or a guitar, where it's like that's like a lifelong journey. So, and not to say that these instruments don't take a lifelong journey for someone to fully master, but they feel more accessible to start with. And so I've been really diving into this, and yeah, it just kind of became a part of my life too.
Yeah, yeah. And I guess it's interesting because just hearing you talk about how you listen to the birds, and that's like a very grounding moment for you walking down the sidewalk, and then with the sound healing, and also the relationship between dance and music, and just how like integrated that is. And also you're a dancer at the Met, which is like a totally different, or I guess it's one of the most extreme forms of live music. Like you get to
Right.
perform with opera singers. So I guess, has music always been like, I don't know, the cornerstone for you in dance?
When I was a kid, my mom signed me up for a piano. So I studied piano since I was, I think, 6 or 7 years old. And I did for a few years. And there was a moment when I also loved playing soccer. It was like, I just always played soccer. This was like my most beloved
If you weren't a
sport.
dancer, you'd be a soccer player.
Yes.
Yeah.
And there was a moment when I started not really feeling the piano lessons anymore. I don't know if it was the teacher or I was just not feeling it anymore. And I remember there was one evening, my mom loves this story. She's like, Łukasz, just please, like, can you go and practice? And I was like, okay. And my mom is so surprised. She's like, oh, that was easy. Like, it always takes like hours to like convince you to go
practice. Piano. Yeah.
And so I leave, and my mom is like in the kitchen or doing something, and then she's like after some time she's like, but where are the sounds of piano? I can't hear anything. And she goes outside, and I'm practicing soccer, like playing. And so she's like, oh yeah, I wasn't specific. I should have said practice piano.
You're like,
and,
I did say practice.
Yes, so,
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I don't know why this story came to my mind when you asked me about how music is a part of my life, but I think even though I didn't end up really dedicating to like mastering playing piano or anything, it did ingrain something in me, this passion for music. And I've always loved like music of different genres. Even though, you know, I have moments that I like listen more to, I don't know, classical music or folk music or opera or whatever. I've always felt really fascinated by different sounds, different types of music. And this has been a big inspiration in my life for many things, especially for dance, for creating. It does feel like music has been a big part of my life that I can't really comprehend how it's just always somehow
always been there.
Been there.
It's almost like you chose the physical manifestation of music instead of the stationary.
And I really appreciate working with music, with sound right now, and learning how to make sounds with my own, with like the percussive instruments or the instruments that I use, because they teach me about movement too. When I'm learning or when I'm experimenting with an instrument, I immediately have in my imagination movement. So it also teaches me about movement and about dance. So it's an interesting correlation between these two.
Yeah. And I know you've choreographed a bit and have created a few films as well. I guess, does it always start with a vision, or you hear something and then you see the project to come out of it, or how did those sprout? Oh, hello, buddy.
The dance film that I made a few years ago that I really love, and I think it's like one of my favorite works that I've created.
Yeah,
it actually started with a poem that I wrote, and that is like the last, I don't know, 30 seconds of the movie. It kind of appears, and it's spoken like over the music. So it started with this, and then I found ways to find visuals in music, and I worked with some composers that wrote original music for it, and
Great.
just all came together.
Yeah. You've also had the chance to work with so many different dance companies. Like you're heavy in the freelance world, kind of jumping around different smaller companies, also part of the Metropolitan Opera Company. How do the two environments kind of change the way you work or what you can bring to the space? Or
The really beneficial aspect of working at the Metropolitan Opera in the dance department is that it allows dancers to do freelance work. It is, I think, it is one of the most important things about it is.
Yeah, it's a very enabling company.
Yes,
it's great.
Yeah, like you can work here at the opera and then also have time and have opportunity to do other projects, and that's what I have been doing for the past really 10 years. I had seasons that I've worked here less or more. I started working here in 2014.
Okay.
So yeah, it's 10 years this year.
That's great. Congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you.
What was the first job you got in New York? Or did you come for a specific job, or you just moved to dance?
I went to the Ailey School for 2 years, from 2012 to 14, and my first job out of school was the Metropolitan Opera. Yeah.
That's incredible. Yeah. I love that.
Yeah.
What brings you the most satisfaction when you're in process? Is it being in the studio, being around other people, or leading up to that, or that performance moment on stage? Do you have a preference? Do you love both?
I like the very first moments of a creative process when it's really fresh and exciting, and there's a lot of unknowns in the process.
A lot of discovery.
And then when it gets to the part that is like, okay, so let's organize it, let's figure it out, then it's like, okay.
Yeah, a little like.
And then the performance is, is awesome. I love performing, and I find performing, I try to relate to performing as like kind of like an experience of catharsis, as they did in ancient Greece. Like that's what theater was created for both the audience and the performance to experience catharsis, the cleansing of the mind and soul.
Yeah.
And I try to find that in dance, and then remember that these are the fundamental aspects of art that have built all kinds of arts.
Yeah.
And it sprouted out of these ideas of like in ancient Greek catharsis in the Greek theater, that it wasn't really a performative. It was, of course, a performance, but the main purpose of it was to give people some sort of, you could say, a spiritual experience. And I feel like in these days, dance and all art became very performative and very methodological at some moments, I noticed. So. And that's beautiful too. I think there is a lot of beauty in performance and like showing how amazing you can be, and that's really incredible. The level of technical proficiency that dancers or any artists, for that reason, show on stage is incredible.
Yeah.
Yet I find that we do lose sometimes the deeper meaning of art and performance. So I try to remind myself of that. And then when I perform, I do experience that sometimes. And it's beautiful. It's amazing. It's needed in our life. I'm lucky to do it through dance. Some people do it through, I don't know, gardening or some sort of volunteering work. It's everywhere. Like we can find that moment of feeling uplifted in really anything that we do, if we approach it consciously, and if we have that intention to receive that. So that's what I feel with dance.
Yeah, absolutely. It just goes back to that human element, and I love that you were saying it's about catharsis for both the performer and the audience, because I feel like so often there is this feeling of like, I'm doing this for them, but you have to tune it back into yourself. Otherwise, what are you giving from? So yeah, it's an exercise in mindfulness and presence for sure. And I feel like just the practice of creating, or, you know, just existing in general, it's so much about just drawing back to presence, and having you in the studio is actually very helpful with that, because I can just feel that from you in the way that you exist, and you always draw back into like the moment when we're creating things. So thank you for bringing that to the studio. It's so helpful.
Awesome.
We love it.
Yeah, I'm glad to be in the studio with you.
Yeah, me too. I guess I'm asking this question to everyone, but what does converge mean to you?
When I think of converjdans, I of course think of you three, and I've always been really supportive and proud of what you do and what you bring to the dance scene, and how you have the courage and are bold enough to, you know, to put things together, to create shows, to make art, to speak about relevant things. That's something that I've always appreciated, that whenever we get into the creative process, when I hear the description behind it, like why are we making the piece, or what is the purpose of it, I always love that there is something meaningful. There is either a topic that's related to what's happening in the world, or something that can help uplift people, the audience, whether through you know, we did performances to like spoken poetry or live music. I also love that you often use live music. I think that's really incredible. You know, I somehow love performing with live music.
Yes.
And that's really special, because it, as any live performance, it requires us to be more present and more attentive to what's happening, because it's not a recording that's repetitive, but you know, every time the performer will do it differently, and we have to listen, we have to adjust. And I think, even though the professionals that we work with are excellent, and they will do it in a very consistent, repetitive way. But there's always an element of like you know, excitement, and like how like is he gonna play it, or how is it gonna turn out? And I think that element makes us forces us to be more present, to be more attentive.
Absolutely.
And that opens up like more creativity, more excitement in the moment, I think.
Yeah, I love that. Well, we're so happy to have you back on stage with us, and enjoy the rest of your day. Have a good class.
Thank you. You as well.
Yay. Thanks.
You're so blue.